So knowing that we are surrounded and always have been surrounded by cities of light may be a new concept and new realization for a lot of people, but around the planet we see that people are waking up to this and are beginning to see through the veil. We're seeing pictures pop up of glimpses of cities of light in our skies, and we're talking about the cities that exist in the inner earth and even underwater cities of light. And it becomes really important to start talking about this phenomenon and sharing our experiences with these cities of light. I have been traveling to different cities of light for several years now, and again, in the sky, in the earth, and even underwater. And I've been a little bit hesitant to talk about all of these experiences because I don't want to be a messenger or a conveyor of information between those that reside in those cities or spaces. I like to think of it as the space between spaces, and everyone else. And I think that that is also the same view that they have in a non-interference policy, that if I were to be a communicator of messages and information, I would almost be cheating people out of their own experience of finding out and knowing for themselves. And that's kind of how these beings who are our family and have held a space in the higher dimensions within the field of Earth for us to step into at some point in time and reunite with them. That's kind of the same way that they feel, because if they're just giving out information and messages, it kind of cheats us out of the journey of getting there. And that is half of the important part of it. And not only is it fun, but it is the way to have the true knowing. A lot of people say, why don't these beings just make it all better here and basically save us from ourselves? And they just don't see it that way, and know that nobody can ever save anybody else. It has to come from a realization that starts deep down inside, a different way of thinking, a different way of being, and a different way of interacting with each other and with ourselves. And then it manifests outward. And we can take care of all the outward, external things in the world around us, but if our hearts aren't in the right place, that is only going to fall back into a not so harmonized place again very quickly. So it is along the journey that we learn about ourselves and about one another, and it's everybody's unique journey into their own state of knowingness. So, I will share just that it is possible for us to connect with the beings who have held this state of potential for us, for a new humanity. And hopefully inspire and encourage people to know that it is possible. It is possible for them. If it's possible for me, it's possible for anyone. And this is the truth of who we are. This is in our genetic makeup already. And when we connect with our heart space and we connect to the infinite love of all, we find that there was never any separation to begin with. It was just us who put up the veil, and the separation from our hearts to one another. So I think it's really important to share on that level. And also, I think it's really important as those of us who are consciousness and heart traveling to these cities of light, that we bring back with us a more a clarity and a higher understanding, just by being there and watching and feeling, being in that frequency of how it works and why it works for them. And you know, we may think of these as some utopian societies, but it is very possible. It's just a different way of being and seeing things, and a different way of connecting. So when we bring that back with us into the here and now, we can't help but start to create that world around us and carry that knowingness wherever we go, into our 3D cities and into our own homes. I mean, my home to me is a city of light. It is, you know, it is my sanctuary. It is my fortress of solitude, and it is the place where I can actually anchor myself in the 3D plane and radiate the light of knowingness from me, and it encompasses everything that then surrounds you. And when we walk in our, you know, society as we know it today, we bring just a different way of thinking, and a whole different set of possibilities with us that can't help but influence the world around us. So what makes their societies work? And what are they doing that is so different here? I mean, how do they live in peace and harmony and unity? How is there abundance for all? How is it that they can basically, I mean, from our point of view, create magic wherever they go? And I'll talk a little bit about the Lemurians, because they are the ones who I have had the most contact with. There are many different societies, and the Lemurians have been great teachers for me, and I've had a lot of connection with them. But I've also had connection with other even higher dimensional beings than the resonance that the space that they're holding right now. Like one underwater place I went to they were just beings of light, you know, and they exist as beings of pure orbs of light. Also in the Northern Lights, there is a city there that you'll find that there are beings there who are just energy bodies, and they kind of have an opalescent hue to them. But the Lemurians get tied into this Agartha network, and I think it's just important to differentiate that anything that is considered inner Earth would be considered part of the Agartha network. And a lot of their cities are within the inner Earth, but they're interdimensional cities of light within inner Earth, and then there are 3D cities within the inner Earth that would also be considered part of the Agartha network. And I kind of just want to make the differentiation of we're talking about here for this purpose, I'm talking about the higher dimensional cities of light. And every time I have asked for entrance into one of these cities, because that's kind of how I do it. I first ask, and then I wait and allow, and being open with no expectation or and letting go of all presumptions. I wait for an invitation, and the Lemurians always answer very quickly, and they are very warm and welcoming. And an invitation can come in many, many different ways. It's never happened the same way twice for me. So just allow that to manifest however comes to you at that point in time. And it's just we connect, we merge on a frequency level, and that draws you to them and them to you, and we find ourselves in a beautiful, magnificent utopian place that we couldn't even have possibly dreamed up in our wildest imaginations, because, you know, quite literally, I could not even conceive of how beautiful it is, and colors that we've never even seen before on this plane. And one of the first things that usually happens, and you can name a city in particular that you have interest in visiting, or you can just, you know, what I like to do a lot of times is just leave it open, leave it up to your highest benefit at the time. Ask for them to meet you in the place where it is going to be the best thing for you here and now. So, you know, after a very, you know, gracious and warm welcome, just like being welcomed home, usually the first thing they want to do is help support in any way to heal us and assist us in any way possible. And they could, you know, they could have you be sitting down in some of their technology, which is a healing technology, which is, you know, bioactive. And the cool thing about that is, once we have been introduced to that kind of technology, we can bring that back into the here and now with us and access it anytime. We don't even have to visit the cities. They will actually give us the technologies to take with us, and or they will just, you know, gather around you and actually lay hands on you and help healing, different parts of you and different aspects, different energy bodies, so that it's almost like a cleansing that we go through. And I think the reason why they are so interested in doing this, and all we have to do is get there, and you will know that you are loved and supported, and you will know that you have never been alone, that they've always been there just waiting for us to be able to connect with them on that level. I don't know, we just we carry so much around with us all the time, and they help us to let it go. They do not see us when they look at us as a society that is wrong for the choices that we have made. They know it's a part of our journey. They don't blame us. They're not angry with us. They know that we are a society in need of healing more than anything else, individually and collectively. So, the anger is not there, and we come back into our physical reality here, and it's easy to get very angry, and it's natural and it's normal, and but it really, we want to deal with that, and we don't want to deny it, but we do want to heal that, and we don't want to stay in that frequency forever. And I found the more and more I traveled to these cities, the less and less angry I was. And now when I look out at society, I see it a lot like they do, that we all have been deceived, and that we all need healing. And if we all only just knew our own magnificence and what we can truly accomplish together, that things would start to change, that we would start to see the world differently and start to act differently and make different decisions and feel differently. So these are the types of things that going there, how it benefits us, because we can bring that understanding back with us, and then the world kind of changes. And I'm not nearly as angry as I used to be, and everything, I don't point the finger, and I don't blame, and I don't because it doesn't solve anything. I can continue to be angry, but I know that the only thing that I can change is myself, and change the way I think, change the way I feel. And now kind of, this place isn't miserable to me. We can hold that vibration here, and again, be manifesting this city of light around us, because that's how we see it. We see it as a magical place here and now. And I don't know, it has really helped me let go and to grow and to let go of things that I do not have control over, and to take responsibility and assume control over the things I do, which is myself. They don't do anything collectively or individually that doesn't work on any level, meaning that it doesn't benefit all life on every level, from the individual to the collective. There can't be any drawbacks. And if there are drawbacks, they don't do it. And that's another concept that I've really had to, okay, what does that mean, living here in 3D, and how do we bring those concepts in? And, you know, again, it's something that we just have to do for ourselves, and then, you know, all of a sudden things start actually working better, and other people notice and pay attention and go, you know, what are you doing differently? And I think that's one thing of how we can influence the world around us, just by being us. Another thing that they have totally let go of is the concept of money. And I think here we're going to have to go through a couple of stages. It would be okay for me if money disappeared overnight. It wouldn't flip out my world, and I could be ready and prepared for that, because I no longer value people by money, or knowledge by money, or myself by money. And you know, it's a game we have to play, and we can play it as a game. Not saying that money is bad or evil, but just that way of, you know, putting that as another barrier between us. They do have a pure energetic exchange system, and I think that we will have to go through some different phases here to get there. But that's what I hope to bring, to see in the future, to live in a society that is a free energy exchange society. And we just use money for that energy exchange now, where it's different there. It's based in love and experience that is valued and exchanged. So, you know, that's just another thing to watch how this works, and see how it plays out there. And, you know, there are just so many different ways of being that can inspire us, and we can bring those ways of being back here and now, and start living them as best we can in, you know, this kind of changing and evolving time. So, you know, again, I just encourage everyone to investigate for themselves. The key is in our heart. The veils that seem to surround us are there only by our belief and choosing. So have fun. It's your journey, and you will be amazed at the family that you will find out there. You know, I think a lot of people are also seeing off-planet civilizations coming in and setting up cities of light by our connection with them, and even our extended families out there, as we are making those or reuniting with our heart connection with them. That place where we meet is the birth of a new city of light. And I just think this is a phenomenon that's happening on so many different levels, and it's really exciting, and it's exciting for all of us. It's about reunion is about knowing yourself and remembering yourself and coming more into wholeness here in the here and now. Thanks for listening.